Warehouse and Van Nuys. It's Friend in High Places. And now, here's your host, Matt Friend.
Oh my God, it's another episode of Friend in High Places. I'm so honored, I'm so excited because today's guest is one of the biggest comedians in the world. He is a legend, and I love him. It's Dane.
Hey man, it's great to see you.
Thank you.
How are you, Matt?
I'm really good. I'm so happy you're here.
I'm excited for both of us because I feel like, we're both like the it guys in Hollywood right now. I feel like it's like we're both arriving.
We both are.
And we're both on this precipice, and it's happening at the same time. It's just fantastic.
I'm so honored that you're here.
Thanks, man.
I've been a fan since I was a kid. You are the coolest.
Oh man, thank you very much. Well, it's been exciting watching everything that you're accomplishing, and it's kind of wild because I feel like I was internet 1.0 guy, you know what I mean? At the beginning of like all things MySpace.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
Napsters, and like there I was sort of trying to figure out where are my fans? How do I find them? I'm getting no love from the industry, and I got to kind of cobble this digital presence together. And then we rocket to, I'm sitting now with you, who is utilizing all of these elements in the right way. I probably did a lot of things, I probably fucked up a lot, but the things that I'm seeing guys like you do, it inspires me to actually want to look and go, okay, what else, what else could I be doing to still find those fans that, want to see those great clips or great content. So thank you for having me, and congrats on everything.
Oh my God, well, that's the whole interview.
All right, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much.
You got to go. Yeah, no, I mean, because you were the first comedian to leverage MySpace.
Oh yeah, I mean, for sure at that time, the whole thing of comedy coming out of the, there's a joke in my act that I say recently. People go like, how's comedy after the pandemic? And I was like, well, I already went through one pandemic before this. I said, I made it through the 90s of stand-up comedy, which was like wretched. I mean, really, really, like, you talk about a abysmal, boring, bad era for stand-up. So by the time it hit 2000, it really was like, okay, where do I belong?
Yep.
How can I use my love of tech?
Yes.
I was a geek. I liked being online.
Yep.
I was like, how can I utilize all this to my advantage and break through?
Do you think you would have had a different career if you were coming up now? Because there's all these, you were the first person to leverage social media with MySpace early on. And now it's an era where everyone has the tools and everyone's more aware of it. So if you were coming up right now, if Dane Cook was coming up right now,
I think
would it be different?
I think what's harder now is there is an algorithm, and I was it was like the Wild West. There was nothing maintaining that retention rates, or there wasn't an ad that needed to be baked in every, minute or whatever it was. It truly was like, if something caught in 2002, you were global. There was no rigmarole to go through. So today, I think if I was going to approach it I don't know actually what I would do today, but I will say that when I finally had my moment, I think it was the coupling of, I was finding these fans online, but I did work for 12 straight years on an act that when I got you in the room, I did light a fire with the internet, but when I got you in the room, I felt like that was where I could make people go, oh, well, there's something more here than just a great website.
It's weird. I always think about if George Carlin, Seinfeld, Eddie Murphy prior came up in the era of today. Like, I'm imagining a young Eddie Murphy going, I'm at Catch a Rising Star this weekend.
Right.
Or I'm going to Yuck Yucks, and get your tickets on my Instagram. It's a weird thing to think about because obviously the priority is writing and comedy, but so much of my time is also spent on the business of this and creating content and editing it. And
you have to be entrepreneurial. You have to love that side of it. You have to, kind of like think outside of the box in terms of like, here's what my live persona and performance is going to be. And then these are all the things that I'm putting together that hopefully will, rattle the algorithm around. I'd like to think that Carlin would be probably sitting in a room somewhere being like, I got these clips. Like that Carlin musicality of like, what should I cut up today and put online? It's like you can imagine it would be a fun process for those guys trying to figure out exactly where they wanted to target their routines.
Oh my God. It would have been wild if they had come up today.
But you think like they were for what they were doing, an appearance on Dick Cavett or the Merv Griffin show, you got to realize those, even though there was Tonight shows and there was like Johnny Carson, there were still all these little, they weren't little, but these kind of in between that were the Dinah Shore show. I mean, stuff that people won't know today, but like there was a plethora of great evening and then late night talk shows. That was their version of getting on a podcast. So it's like, I'll bop through town, I'll do Cavett, and then I'll go over and I'm going to do, again, Dinah Shore, Merv's going to have me on, and they just did that whole.
And those are only like 10-minute interviews. Like these podcasts, like an hour.
Yeah, and they all sang, I feel like, at the end of it.
Let's
like,
do it right now. Let's go. What should we do?
Kick in the music. Let's go. Something contemporary.
Yeah,
maybe some Sabrina
to the moon. Oh my God.
But it was really like, I like looking at that era because it is really similar to podcasting, because if you watch a lot of those old episodes of late night, they get into some real political conversation.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just the great Johnny Carson, like where you come on and you're hitting him out of the park and being funny. I felt like, I do feel like this generation is kind of doing what they did in that era, which is like,
interesting.
Entertaining people are entertaining in many different facets and not just comedy.
For sure. Yeah. I was thinking about you specifically because when I met you, you've been so nice. And I feel like that's kind of a rare thing, like especially for like a really successful comedian.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of nice people when I broke through.
But where does that come from? Because there's a lot of weird energy from people, especially like with younger people, maybe.
It's competitive business. I think there's a time, especially when I was coming through, where everybody sort of feels like there's a pecking order.
Yep.
And that somebody should be next or supposed to be next. And if you throw off whatever that the powers that be, whatever the
algorithms have.
The algorithm of 2003, 4, 5 was like Rolling Stone magazine made the rules.
Yeah.
And they didn't like me at all. They weren't fans of mine. And so I bucked the system using the internet, and then I didn't need that write-up. And what that actually did was it made you more of a target.
Yep.
Where people go like, okay, we didn't crown him. He's self-made. And it made it even tougher because sometimes they really want to knock you back and like you're being tested constantly. What does that mean for like other people around you, and why didn't I maybe get more support out of the gate? They're all afraid of getting turned down by Rolling Stone.
Yeah. So
you become in a way like even in success, I don't know if you're still in such like you're in a moment, but you start to feel like there will be people that are like, you're getting it too fast. You're getting it too soon. And it's unfortunate because it'll take them 10 years to realize you're a great guy and that they should have broken bread with you sooner than later.
Yeah, no, because as I go through this moment too, like there's a lot of things happening, but it's all a product of a lot of work.
Right.
And people are like you just said, it's getting handed to you or whatever, because you had so much success so early on as well. And you were doing like arenas and TD Garden.
And putting in the work.
Yeah,
it was like,
and putting in the work, so people don't realize what that takes.
It's the other 20 plus hours of the day where you go like
relentless.
Right. I'm exactly relentless. I wanted to win. I'm the son of an athlete. My dad had a competitive spirit, and I entered into the business like, I'm not taking this halfway. Yeah. I'm not doing this just to be like a funny kind of sort of good mediocre.
Yeah.
I told my family, if you support me, and it's going to be a lot of support.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a win in the win column. And so you have to be relentless. That's a perfect way to put it.
Totally relentless.
Yeah. And you are, man. And I'm a fan because I feel like you are so in the pocket. When it's go time for you, I've really enjoyed seeing you rise to occasion. And you've done it now many, many times. And it's kind of cool because I know on your end, you might be like, man, I'm just trying to figure it out in real time. But you go into what I call pro mode. And pro mode is when you're in front of the camera or you're with, a mic in your face or in your hand, you're in pro mode. You just have all the faculties and staff, and you're ready to you're ready to rock. And so I think you're going to have a really tremendous future.
I only invited you on this podcast so that way you would compliment me for an hour and a half.
I was also sent a message from the president of entertainment that you're fired.
Oh.
And that I was delivering that
right.
message as well
Thank
today.
you.
But you
Thank
can return
you.
in 6 years.
You're fired.
To
I'd rather not. Yeah, a Chappelle. So I got to do my first arena show. I opened for Jon Stewart a couple days ago.
Yeah, I heard it
you
was
messaged
great.
me.
Yep.
And I was thinking about you because you've performed in so many world-class arenas.
Right.
What was that first arena show for Dane Cook like?
It built, I was fortunate. It built up. I was doing like Penn State, and I was playing like field houses, which is about 10 or 11 or 12,000. So I was getting my feet wet on a college circuit, doing these shows that were supposed to be 4, 5, 6,000 attendees. And then the president of entertainment of that school would say, can we move this over to the field house? We have like 10,000 people that are showing up. So by the time I did Boston Garden in 2005, 2 shows, both sold out, 19,000 each. I was, believe it or not, I was not only ready in this, you're going to think it's kind of funny because you're just done your first arena, first of many. They're not that big anymore. They don't feel, it feels like the connection, it isn't about the size. It's about what do I have to offer? It's about the size of what it is that I feel like entertainment-wise I'm putting out there. And so you'll find it'll be less overwhelming. I'm sure John showed you that in his
the best.
incredible way in his presentation, that it really isn't about 19 or 20,000 people. It's about, if you know you got the goods and you're in pro mode, you're gonna deliver. You're gonna do great. And I heard you did great, so congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Yeah, the energy of that many people at you is just, it's a different experience.
It is.
A comedy club is fun, but that is like you're
it's an event.
It's an event.
Yeah. There's nothing like it. It is different. It certainly is like, with an arena, you can have a little bit of fun, but you got to pretty much be locked into whatever that set, whatever it is that you want to do.
For sure.
But, it is an event, and it's something that if you do it right, people for the rest of their lives are going to remember that arena that night with you.
Oh, my God, I hope so.
Yeah,
I mean, I said I was Dane Cook, so they got excited.
Really?
No.
That helps both of us.
So I'm fascinated by endurance, because you have for 5 days in 2007, you held the Laugh Factory's endurance record for the longest time performing on stage. It was 3 hours and 50 minutes until Dave Chappelle did 6 hours and 11 minutes.
That's right.
How do you go on stage for 4 hours?
I think that the night that I did it, I want to say it was 7 hours and 40 minutes was because I went up after Dave did 6 hours, and I was like, I'm going to beat it. And then I called him the next day, and I was like, I beat your record again. So you're going to have to go in and do like 8 hours.
Oh my God.
I'll be very honest with you. No bullshit. I was very depressed. And I remember I was single, and I hated going to my apartment. And I remember feeling like, man, it was the beginning of a new year. It was like the January 2nd. And I was like, I would rather stay on stage all night with these people, if they're willing to stay, than go home.
Wow.
I was really that kind of lonely and miserable going back to my apartment. And so after 2 hours, I said, should I stay? And they were like, ah. And after 4 hours, I was like, should I keep going? And the 60 people that were there, they were like, all right, we're into it. I had $200 in my pocket. I gave it to the guy in the front row. I said, go get us some fast food. He went and got food for everybody, and we just kept going. 7 hours, 40 minutes.
Was anyone leaving?
Oh yeah, we lost about 22 people, but we sent them off with we would say, what's your name? And then I would bust their balls as they were leaving. And they got one last bit, at them before they left.
Did anyone stay the whole time?
Yeah. 48 people stayed. And we did a group picture together that I have in my office still at 6:30 in the morning at the Laugh Factory.
What's wrong with those people, by the way?
Yeah, it was, some of them were like, I'm going to get fired. Some of them were literally they knew that they were going to be in trouble at work, but it felt like a special night. And it actually cured me of my loneliness.
That night cured you of it?
Yeah. I don't think after that I felt that same level of I just don't want to be back in that place. Yeah.
That is insane.
I think with stand-up though, man, it's and I think even just with anything that you get to do in the creative space, it's just all about challenging yourself, sometimes putting yourself in uncomfortable situations,
Yeah.
and never limit yourself. You know, and that was a night that I was like, screw it. I'm gonna see what happens if I
Crazy.
stay up here. And it was creatively an interesting endeavor because a lot of things came to the surface that you wouldn't have even expected that night.
You're so like motivating to talk to, and again, upbeat, positive. And in comedy, this community, a lot of people are not like that. Like not to be rude.
Let's name names.
Let's name names. No, but I mean, there had to have been like amongst peers and different people. Like people must have just been jealous. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
you're rising, you're successful, you're making
Well, now
money.
that I'm an old man, I can now say when I was 28, 29, 30, that a lot of the comics that gave me some, shit back then,
Yeah.
they're some of my best friends, and they have come to me since and said, listen, I just, all I was hearing about is your success, and I was there like dying on the vine for years, hoping for my moment. And the great thing is, I'm not going to name names, but some of those people are now some of the biggest comics
In
that
the
we know
world.
today.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see that. Listen, it's a sacrifice, this industry. It's cool to see anybody have their moment. So I'm grateful regardless, man. I went through some rough stuff, but I also made great mentors, and it made me want to be a better friend in person, to give love and give flowers to those coming up, because I know what it feels like to be on that end, and it's a little all over the place. It's fun, but it's scary.
Yes.
And you're trying to make an imprint now that'll sustain for the rest of your career,
I'll tell you who made an imprint. Dennis Rodman in 1999. Simon
shoot.
Says.
Oh wow, can we cut to
Do we
a
like
clip?
that?
Oh
Do
boy.
we like this research?
This is top notch research.
Do we like? This is not. I'm looking for compliments.
1999.
This is 1999. Let's talk. I'm a Bulls fan. I did not live through the 90s Bulls.
Yeah.
But was Dennis Rodman a sociopath in real life, or what was he? What was he like?
Dennis Rodman was the guy that wouldn't go ananywhere unless there was a party already organized.
Oh, that's nice.
And so being in Nice, France, filming this movie,
Oh my
I
God.
remember when we got there, they said, do you know your lines? I said, yeah, no, I've been read it on the plane, read it before. They said, okay, that's the second most important thing. I said, what's the most important thing? And they go, you like to party? And I was like, Dennis is going to party, huh? They go, this is a party.
Oh
this
my God.
movie's a party.
Okay.
Yeah, so Nice, France, Cannes, the whole.
That's
up
a
and
line
down
out of
the-
a movie already, I feel like.
Oh man, it was like the movie should have been the making of this movie, which was almost like, like when they say like a business is a front for some money laundering.
Mhm.
It was like this movie was a front to just have a party all across, southern France on the Mediterranean. It was wild, man. We had a lot of fun. We made a good bad movie, but we had a lot of fun.
So when you see Rodman with Kim Jong-un, are you like, that's the same guy?
I was like, that's so Dennis. Right? It's just like, leave it to Dennis to bring a dictator to the party, right? That's just like.
What if he brought, well, I don't know how old Kim Jong-un was when you were filming this movie, but what if he brought like a 14-year-old Kim Jong-un to the set?
I think at the time it would have been just like, take a number, man. Like everybody wanted to be around Dennis Rodman. So it was a spectacle.
That's how they feel about you, Dane.
It was, hey,
You're
now.
the Dennis Rodman of comedy.
You have to stop with these compliments, man. You're just peppering me over here.
Is being the Dennis Rodman of comedy a compliment? I think it is. He's a legend.
Well, I'm a Celtics fan, so maybe you could throw that more in Larry Bird, Magic, or I forget my own team, the Chief.
Yeah.
Robert Parrish. I loved Robert Parrish. That was my guy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you moved to LA in 94. I'm sorry, you moved to New York in 94, LA in 96.
Yes.
What was so bad about those 2 years in New York?
Well, no, it was good. It was good, except I moved there in winter, and I was doing spots at the Cellar a lot.
Yep.
I was down in the village, but that's just for 20 minutes at night. For 20 minutes you get to go on stage and live this incredible life and be a New York comic.
Yeah.
But the rest of the day was like, I just remember I used to sneak into the Lincoln Center movie theater, and I would theater hop, but I would buy one ticket at noon, and then I would watch all 9 movies that were playing. Like I would figure out how can I stay here
The whole day.
all
Seems to be
day.
a pattern in your
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
There's
no,
the
I just-
stage, there's the movie theater,
Yes.
like
I
anything
have
but
fear of abandonment if we want to get into the therapy of it all.
Yep.
So the idea of being like home and just isolated was always like, even if I was sitting in a movie theater and I wasn't speaking to anybody, the feeling of community always like calm me down, or being on stage, the feeling of being with people,
So the opposite of my generation.
Yeah, exactly. The distance through text and social would not have played well with me back in the day.
I read online that you were a self-described introvert in high school.
Yep.
And then that ended?
Oh no, it didn't end. I mean, I still think that that's a lot of who I am. I've just
You're an extroverted introvert?
and I'm an optimistic pessimist as well. So these things like,
It's a man full of contradictions.
they just line
Dane Cook, everybody.
I just think that, being an introvert, it was like, it challenged me to want to, it challenged me to want to push the limits of fear. And then what I ended up realizing was it was my greatest strength, because I was pretty good at like listening, absorbing, and then observing, reporting on stage. So
Yeah.
it was a gift.
That is a gift.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is wild. Like, do you ever have a moment? Because I'm trying to be like normal, but it is wild. Like when you have a moment to be able to sit here with someone that you've looked up to this long. It's unusual because this didn't happen in other generations. Like a young Dane Cook wasn't just getting to sit down with like a Carlin or someone like this early on.
I did get to sit down, and my mentor was Jerry Lewis for about 6 or 7 years till he passed away. I got to meet Jerry. I grew up watching Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis was the biggest star in the world for an entire decade at least. And then he went on to do King of Comedy with Martin Scorsese.
Insane.
And, the telethon. And I mean, Jerry Lewis was like the fabric of our lives guy.
I love that video of Jerry Lewis and Dean reuniting in Sinatra Makes It Happen.
Are you working?
Oh my God.
Yeah. And you know why I said that?
Why?
Because when they met 10 years before they even became stars, that was the first thing that he said when they met each other. Are you working?
Oh.
And it was like they weren't.
Yes.
But I got to know Jerry. So I was fortunate to finally meet some of my heroes. They say don't meet your heroes.
But I mean, like to do this, like that, it speaks to the world we live in now. Like to do a conversation with Jerry Lewis on a camera.
Oh man, if I could have had a conversation like even online with Steve Martin back in high school through like Twitter or X or whatever, that would have been like the greatest, coolest thing. And so for me, as a person who's always been, my fans know I'm accessible. They've always been able to find me somewhere online.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of young artists, a lot of young entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I like being like, somebody fires off a question and I'll DM them in real time and say, all right, I'm not going to bullshit you. This is what I think you should do A, B, and C if you want to get out of the gate with your dream.
Oh.
Yeah.
What would be the number one piece of advice that Dane Cook would offer a young person who has a dream?
I think that you have to be willing to be so assertive with how you feel, your perspective, that it's okay to lose people, meaning you don't need to make everybody like you and stay on board. You need to be as honest and present as possible.
Yeah.
And that rubs some people the wrong way because especially in this business, not everybody wants to hear the truth. Mm-hmm. But I promise you, if you do that, those people eventually will come back. They'll come around. Some of them will fall on the sword and say, I just didn't want to hear what you had to say, when we first, cross paths, but keep your integrity. Keep your integrity at all costs. Don't bend, don't be malleable for somebody else's dream. Your integrity, your vision is the most important. You got to start from there and build a team around that.
How did you realize that early on? Because it seemed like you were able to build that team and do these things at a very early age.
I will tell you, man, I was sitting in.
Like you had the wisdom when you were a kid, I feel like.
Yeah, I had a great mom who was my best friend in the world. Her nickname was the Compass because she knew my path before I even knew what direction to go in. She instilled in me a lot of confidence, even though the other side of that was a lot of insecurity and being such an introvert. But I'll tell you, man, after the 90s and what was a long, kind of scary slog in building up this fan base through colleges, making a little bit of scratch here and there.
Yeah.
When I sat in front of that computer, I think it was in 2001, and I saw my first 5,000 fans within like a few days of me saying like, I need help. I'm trying to grow this fan base. When I saw that turn into 20,000 within 10 days, that night, I remember sitting in my office. I remember and I was looking at my computer and I looked at that number and I was like, I'm going to do this on my own. and I had all the confidence in the world because
my God.
nobody could stop me at that point.
This
I
is a scene
knew
out of a movie, by
nobody
the way.
could stop me. At that point, I was like, I'm getting the love, I'm hearing the reviews, I'm talking to people one-on-one, I'm winning every night. And I was like, I'm gonna put myself on the map. And so keep the integrity. You have the
Put
best.
yourself on the map.
Put yourself on the map.
Yeah.
I think I once said, and I say it for the rest of my life, if you feel like it's an unfair playing field, create your own field and then invite whoever you want to be participatory.
Especially now, like, and if you're offering any words of wisdom to people, it's just like there's no excuse to not be making your own thing.
Right.
Anyone can put themselves on the map now.
Yeah. I mean, you when you look back even like 2 years ago to today.
Yeah,
right.
It's
And you
wild.
think about like, was there somebody, if you don't mind me asking you, let me turn the tables.
Yeah, please.
Was there somebody who you got to meet or cross paths with, whether they were known or not known, that really you felt like gave you that insight or reinforcement?
Aside from Harvey Weinstein?
Harvey Weinstein is not the person that maybe we should be bringing into this at this point.
I would agree with you. Let's ask that. Yeah. Well, you mentioned Jerry Lewis, arguably more controversial. Some are saying it, right, Dane? But no. The answer is yes. To give me words of wisdom or advice, you were.
Yeah. Was there somebody who helped kind of made you feel like emboldened in your beliefs?
Yeah. I mean, I would say Hank Azaria is a big guy. Weirdly, he was my dad's roommate in college.
Wow. Okay.
So that's the closest I am to being a Nepo baby.
Right.
Adjacent. And then John Stamos found me early in the pandemic.
That's right.
And was very like encouraging.
He loves you.
Yeah.
It's like he has love in his eyes for you.
I love that man. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was very, just to see someone who's kind of done all of it.
Yeah.
And to have that.
What was it that
very
Hank,
encouraging.
Did Hank say something in particular or paraphrase?
I think he just.
What was it about Hank that really made you feel like it gave you the possibility?
I think just he always thought I kind of had an ear for voices and I had a naturally funny sensibility.
Yeah.
And then I asked him for advice early on when I was in high school and in college, and he was like saying, go do a play, you have to write. And there's not really any sense of direction that one can offer other than you have to, like you said, find a way to put yourself on the map. But no one even knew what that meant, like even 7 years ago. And for me, it was just a luck thing of the pandemic happened and then in that moment,
lucky pandemic.
But there was TikTok, and I was finishing college when TikTok was coming.
Right.
And I could start using this tool to get discovered. So.
Gotcha. So you feel like he was one of those people, though, that helped you kind of incentivize, like, I'm going to lean into this, man. I'm really going to like.
Yeah, he was.
That's
sure.
really cool, man.
But I like you though, great parents too. I mean, they were still are so encouraging. Do you think that's an advantage for a comedian or a disadvantage? Because I feel like in comedy, there's the idea that
I
if
had
you
the
didn't have
alcoholic dad on the other side,
Great.
and we were kind of like we were.
So that's why you're
treacherous,
such a big comedian.
I just think I think the combination is if you have that person who is going to constantly like help you get to the finish line.
Yeah.
But you have the burden and you have I hate to say it, but like the trauma and the things that like really put the pressure on, because that made me want to win even more. For my mom to be like, in spite of this environment that sometimes is so off kilter and so unhealthy.
Yeah.
We are going to win. I know you believe in me. My mom's encouragement, it was like, yes, okay, if she's saying I can do it. And so I do think that that's like the perfect kind of recipe, is like if you have the belief, but you also have something that lights a fire under your ass.
Yes.
I don't think there's too many people that are kind of given a career and given a path out of two healthy parents and say, oh, I'm going to give this everything I've got. I think that you need to have a little bit of that fight, vim and vigor.
Yeah. For sure. For me, it is weird because I have two great parents. But I mean, I think, they just instilled like a motivation in me, I guess.
Okay, well then that's good. At least you were getting two parents that were like, go or whatever. They set that example.
Yeah.
So that's very cool, man. For me, when I met Jerry, he was the guy that, he'd gone through everything, every global success, failure, you name it. he was road tested.
Oh,
And
yeah.
at 88, he would say to me, he'd call me up every Sunday. I would have my conversation with Jerry, and he'd say, first thing he'd say, he'd go, no negativity. He'd say, do the Jerry Lewis, hello, my boy. It's your friend, the Jew in the desert, calling you for the 50th time today. And he would do his Jerry Lewis voice, and then he would let the character kind of go, and he'd go, how you doing?
Yeah.
And I'd say, I was very honest with him. I'd say, oh man, I'm like, I'm a little, he go, no negative. We don't do negative. We get it out of, he'd
Wow.
go, get a pen, I have notes that he would make me write. He'd go, I will not focus on negativity.
He would have you say this.
Oh, yeah. No, I have like things that he'd be like, get a pen and paper, my boy. And I would write down things that he would say to me. And
That's crazy.
I could get emotional, man, because he was probably the guy when I was really like, I'd come over the hill of success. I'd had like this incredible like 8-year run in Hollywood. I'm making movies. I'm on the charts. I'm like, you name it, I got it. And then when that started to settle, and it was like I'm getting a little older and I'm in this new era, I kind of was lost, man. I was like,
yeah.
And then there were some people that wanted to see me sort of like, there were people that root against you. And I was sitting and going like, oh man, I'm really like feeling like I don't know how to reinvent myself. I don't really know what's next. And he was the guy that, maybe like Hank was for you, to be like, listen, this is part of it. You need right now to light the furnace and the fire of your creativity for the next thing. So we're lucky to have people like that.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. That it is crazy because, like you just said, 8-year run, then you have to continue reinventing, and your whole life is all about inventing. Like you never had things handed to you. You created it, and then the opportunities happen. Every movie you were in was a result of the career that you created. You were just like another actor in a line of people waiting to get cast. You were proactive about things.
Yeah, people that were fans of mine became the producers or directors that would then call me and say, hey, do you want to climb in the sandbox? We're doing something fun over here. So I really do believe that we make our own opportunities.
Speaking of opportunities, Dane,
yes,
you're not in the MCU, but
I'm not in the MCU.
You are in the MMCU.
Oh no, what is this?
Because you played the Waffler in Mystery Man.
That's right.
So Dane Cook, what is
and who's in that scene with me?
You tell me.
Hank Azaria. Hank's sitting right across from me in that scene. Hank, Ben Stiller, Janine Garofalo, Paul Rubens, and William H. Macy. They were there.
And Jerry Lewis was yelling
on my shoulder, in a sense, metaphorically. No, they sat there, and Kinka Usher, the director, had them all sitting at a table. And I'm
insane.
like, there's no way these actors are going to be there for my stupid cameo. I'm a nobody at the time also. And he goes, no, I want their reactions to your shenanigans. So I got to do my scene for Hank Azaria and the rest of those guys.
Oh my God.
Isn't that wild?
That is
full circle moment. Look at us.
It's insane.
Huh?
Look at us.
I know.
It brought us together.
It's synergy and a simpatico that's happening.
It really is. Yeah. Would you ever want a kid?
Would I want a kid?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, man. Of course.
You're already like a dad, I feel like.
I feel like
like a comedy dad.
I feel like when I was 16, I think I told my mom, I said, 2 things I'll be great at, which is comedy and being a dad.
Yeah.
So I do look forward to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Would you
now
want
that that it's official?
Yeah, it is. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you, bud.
Would you want your kid to be a comedian?
I would just want my kid to be happy. You know, I hope they're funny, because I just think that it's such a great way to get through life, being able to you know, shrug things off, laugh things off. But I just want my kid to do what they love, and I'm there to enforce it.
Yeah, or kids. You might have multiple.
Yeah, I would like that as well.
What is a superpower that Dane Cook would want to have?
A superpower?
Yeah.
I probably want to be able to read people's thoughts, to know what people are thinking. And this is going to be a fucking really esoteric and strange answer as to why. Not so I could get one up on somebody, so I could help you be a better version of yourself on the outside quicker than all the things that you think you need to say or do to perpetuate this false version of yourself in a facade. So if I could know what you really want to ask me right now, or what really is going on, or the fear that you feel, I wouldn't want to use it to my advantage.
Interesting.
I'd want to kind of jujitsu it and use it in a way that maybe you didn't even realize you were asking the wrong questions or leaning into the wrong areas. And I would want to be able to help you to course correct.
What am I thinking right now?
I don't know. I don't have this power.
What is the question I want to ask you that I haven't asked?
I don't know.
I'll tell you what it is.
I know it's on your...
Because it's on my thing
there
here.
It is.
So you've never had any alcohol or done any drugs in your entire life?
Fact. Truth.
How did you navigate the 90s of comedy? You built this career without one sip.
Yeah, I think I started to watch all of these people imbibe to a fault, and I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be also a factor to my success. Is I'm up in the morning, I'm in the gym, I'm focusing on
Yeah.
being entrepreneurial.
Yes.
And they were sleeping all day till the crack of 4:30, and then they were miserable. And a lot of people, I felt like, I think some of the funniest people, funnier than I am or we are, never made it because of like, yeah, they put that stuff in their way, you know?
Shit.
And so, no, I saw that happening. I was like, I'm just not interested in doing that. I never had an urge. I don't miss it. It's not something I ever would want to do or care about.
You're so ahead of your time because I look at like comedians are working out now, like on Instagram.
Right.
That wasn't a thing when you were coming up.
No. That was
To get
like,
up at 4:30 in the morning.
I got so much
Where did this
shit.
come? But you're like a visionary though, kind
my
of.
dad was an athlete. I loved, I don't know, man, just getting up and feeling like, you hit the ground running in the morning and feeling purpose.
How do you get up early though when you have, because comedy is such a night lifestyle. Like
Yeah.
how do you have a healthy lifestyle when you're on the road, when there's all these projects coming up, you don't really know where you're going to be next week?
Yeah, I think that it was, I never had to get a lot of sleep. I was like a deep sleeper, short sleep. 5 hours used to be, I'm not anymore, but I used to be able to sleep 5 hours and I was fine. I could do like everything I needed to do, get a workout in.
I got 5 hours.
Yeah, 5 hours, man. But that's how I was even in like junior high and high school.
Yeah.
I would stay up late. I'd sneak up and watch Johnny Carson or The Tonight Show. Then I'd watch.
Shish boom ba. Finally made Dane laugh when I wasn't myself.
I would watch that and then I'd get like a little bit of sleep and then get up and have to, go to school in the
Let's
morning.
make your dreams come true. Dane appears on Carson. Okay. Our first guest this evening is headlining at Yuck Yucks Comedy Club next Thursday through Sunday. He's very talented. He's a Bostonian. Very funny. Dane Cook.
Thank you very much, Johnny. It's great to be here.
Do you think you would have been called over to the desk?
Oh, I don't know. You'd like to think that you would.
Yeah.
Oh,
you would have been. It's not even a question.
I would hope.
No, there's no chance that you would.
But he was the guy, man. For me growing up,
you never met him.
Like I never got to meet him. No, but I knew Bob Saget pretty well, and I would.
He's coming on next week.
I would vicariously learn about Johnny through Bob. So it was kind of like one of those things that, like, just because we get
Speaking of a high place,
we get to pal around with some of these guys that we get to kind of hear like what were our heroes really like.
Oh my God, yeah. What was Bob like? Because I never met him, and I'm really upset about that.
The best. He was all love. You could have a really terrible moment in your life. You could be dealing with some hardship that was like almost impossible to come to terms with, and he was the first to make the joke that was so out of bounds, so wrong, and so horrible, but it would make you laugh. And that was Bob. And I was the last podcast guest on his podcast before he sadly passed away.
Maybe we shouldn't have had you on then. I'm worried about worried about this right now, actually.
Careful of Florida and headboards.
There's clouds.
But he would
Florida and headboards.
But he'd make that fucked up joke, and
like he would have loved that joke.
He'd be the first.
He would have loved that joke.
Yeah, and I will tell you very quickly, when Robin Williams had passed away,
he died.
Yes, sadly he's gone.
Yeah, okay.
But Bob and I had a dinner that was set for that night. And then when Robin had passed away,
yes.
I called Bob and I was like, all right, we'll just maybe in a few weeks we'll get together. And he was like, no, I think it would feel good to go tonight. And so that night is one of the moments in like my Hollywood, if I'm writing a book of all my Hollywood moments, grieving Robin, but sitting with Bob and him telling the most incredible stories. In fact, I tell one on his podcast that Bob shared with me, and we went back and forth of how he visited the set of Hook. That Robin invited him and said, I want you to see this, the ship that I'm performing on. Just beautiful, creative, and a guy that wanted to give back and help. So we miss Bob.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Is there one comedy icon or legend that you would have just killed to have a dinner with?
I love Bill Hicks. I used to watch guys like him and Kinnison. They were so dangerous. They were so real. they were so poignant, but at the same time, they weren't afraid to be like real obtuse and fucking just like jagged.
Yeah.
So any one of them. But if I had like one pick, of course, I would want it'd be a tie, Carlin or Pryor.
Oh my
I think
God,
just to
it'd be
talk
crazy.
to each, they're the architects. You know,
Yeah.
they're the ones. So
Oh my God.
either of those guys.
Those guys, like Carlin, I'm just so fascinated by just the word economy and like the real writing and the craftsmanship that I feel like does not exist as much today with a lot of comedians.
Right.
Like especially the listing is my favorite that he
Yeah,
would do.
yeah.
How do you? What's the process for you? Like, do you actually write out your material, or you go on stage and then that's how you work it out? Or do you type things, or you handwrite things?
No, I've actually, believe it or not, I've never written anything down.
Oh, really?
I don't. I'm unfunny on paper. When I would start to try to write things at mid '90s, I'd be like, maybe I should do a set list, and I would see myself writing these things out, and I'd be like, ugh, none of this reads funny to me.
So you just got it in your head.
Yeah, I had like an improv background, and I was in an improv group for about 4 years in Boston. And so what I found was my blend was like, have a topic, get up there in improv, you know, talk it out, so to speak, with the crowd, and then rivet in those, I call it the 4 points of like, here's 4 laughs. One of these is going to be the big final laugh, and then play in the middle, which means on any given night, I know my 4 moments of, you know, big laughs.
But the whole hour or the whole show?
The piece.
Yeah,
whatever
piece.
that piece is of storytelling.
Yes.
And so I've got my 4 big laughs, but if I know where those are between, say, point A and B,
Yeah.
now I can be introspective. I can be maybe thought-provoking in a funny way because I can investigate my feelings and how am I really feeling about the material I'm sharing, and so it's not formulaic.
So you're pretty but you are pretty scientific though, and that's kind of a genius if that's all in your head.
It's like I see it all when I'm up there. Like Minority
You're like
Report,
Rain Man.
I can, and I'm an excellent driver.
Oh, great! Yeah.
But I can see it.
Unlike
can
Timberlake. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I can edit on the fly. I can watch him do that all day.
Sorry.
I just want him to keep interrupting with like it's the best, man.
It's just the
I forget because I want to sit and just watch, but I'm like, oh no, I'm here. I have to like.
No, it's fun.
I have to be with you.
I just like doing Carson. It's like Carson Tourette's.
Yeah. I already see with the Kreskin hat on.
Okay.
I just want to see what the. Hey now.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know what I was saying. But I think the point
you're
is,
saying you're a genius. You can.
I just see it all.
You map out
I edit
A,
on the
B,
fly.
C, and D, and it's in your. You don't have like a note sheet or anything.
No.
It's just all in your head.
Always all in my head. And if you were to tell me now, like, well, take that bit you did last night and tell me what was happening with that.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I can't remember it all here.
Yeah.
But when I'm on stage, it all just comes back like a program.
It's like you just when you said pro mode. There's something that happens, to me at least, and clearly you are an expert on it, but like when I'm on that stage, when the camera turns on, there's a mode that shifts, like the material comes rushing to my head.
I see it with you. I actually can watch it. Like I see it with most comics. I can see the wheels turning, and I've watched you do it. I'm watching you in an interview, and I do this with most people. I'm not watching the person who everybody's supposed to be watching. I'm watching the person that I know is like adapting. Right in the moment, you're adapting. Oh, funny thing, that just happened. She dropped the thing.
Yeah, yep.
That other person, I do an impersonation of him. He's walking this way.
Yes.
And I'm watching you, and I can barely see the tightening of the screws, but I watch you do your thing, man, and it's just like, it's pro mode. And then you don't miss a beat. You don't miss a beat. But if we had to sit here and go, what are you going to do? Let's go over it 3 or 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
It would probably be like, what are we doing?
Oh, yeah.
So you've got the goods, kid.
And
you're natural.
Being live is a whole other thing too. We're doing it live. Doing it live.
Like Saturday Night Live, man. The first time I hosted, and I was like, I couldn't remember anything that I was supposed to do when I was behind the door. When Don Pardo was still there, went, ladies and gentlemen, Dane Cook. And then the door opened. I remember going, I have no fucking clue what I'm doing.
Oh my God. But there were cue cards.
No, not for stand-up.
Oh.
I opened with Lauren wanted me to do stand-up. And he said to me, he goes, when you do your stand-up, these 11 minutes, it's your show. It's your show. And so that's not the cards but the band's playing. Imagine this, ready? I'm behind the door. I'm in the dark. There's one producer with the headset on. I hear Don Pardo bleeding through his, saying all the names of all the, Andy Samberg, and like he's going through the whole thing. And then she goes like this. She goes, 10 seconds.
Oh my God.
And then I hear 5 seconds, and then she goes, "You're gonna be great." And then she opens the door. And this is what I remember: slow motion. I'm walking through, and now the band's next to me on both sides. Something I've never seen before. I've always, like everybody, watched it through the. And so now it's a sea of music.
Yeah.
The theme is hitting me as I'm
This
walking through.
applause,
The applause I don't remember as much as.
but people are clapping.
Yeah, when I reviewed it, they're clapping because they're
Uh-huh.
like Dane Cook, and it was like, here's my moment. But the band's playing, and I'm walking through the music,
Oh my God.
and I go down the little step, made sure I didn't trip.
Oh my God.
And I remember thinking to myself as I came through the door, I don't know what I'm starting with. I don't remember
Oh my God.
what I'm supposed to do.
So what did you do?
It was there, man. The
Yeah.
second I hit that mark, the moment I hit the mark,
Yeah.
it was like
It just came to you.
it came to me,
Yeah.
and I
Because it's called pro mode.
inhale, pro mode, pressure. I'm a pressure player. That's something I learned not even at that moment. Like, I love the pressure. I need all of the
Yep.
pressure. I need to be
Yes.
broken,
Yes.
and nobody knows what to do.
Yes.
And that's when I step up and go, I know exactly what to do. But if you told me before, will you know what to do? I'd be like, tell Matt, ask Matt. I don't know if I'm the guy. But when I got out there, the first thing occurred to me, and I remember I took a inhale.
Oh
I
my
said, it's great to be here.
God.
And when I said that first piece of material, I knew the next 11 minutes was like,
you just got to get it
I got
going.
him.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like from the backstage of SNL to when
To
you
the
hit the
mark.
mark, you were blank, and then you get to the mark, and the rest is history.
and in the moment I got there, it was
oh my
like,
God, that is crazy.
it went plink, and like lights in my
That is
head came on.
Crazy.
And I could see it. I watched later with my mom, and I said, I don't know what I'm doing here. And watch 5 steps later, you see my face kind of go like,
Wow.
like, this is my show. Lorne Michaels, what he said actually, and I'm also I think when I'm on stage, I remember conversations. I'm not like just thinking of the act. I hear Lorne in my head go, it's your show. And I was like, this is my show. And now this is my show.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dane Cook Experience.
I mean, I think it would have more. Yeah, absolutely.
It's great to be here, man. I'm so psyched I'm on your show. This is so fucking cool.
No, my God, that must be crazy for Lorne Michaels to say, "This is your show." Like the most, arguably iconic producer in the history of comedy.
And I
Just
got
to say, "This is yours now" for 11 minutes.
I sat in his office a lot. He told me a lot of Steve Martin stories. He told me a lot of SNL stories. I took every opportunity I could to either knock on his door and be in his office or be as close to him just to watch.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, one of the coolest moments hosting Saturday Night Live was one night we were writing till about 1 or 2 in the morning. Bill Hader, I was doing some stuff with him. Will Forte, I was going between their offices. And then I just took like 30 minutes and I walked down a hallway, which was the original cast hallway with Belushi's picture, Dan Aykroyd's picture, Chevy Chase, like the main hallway with the first pictures. I got so emotional right standing in that hallway looking at like the history of that show.
Oh.
Finally, I got to be a part of it.
Were you like crying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was like, I couldn't believe I made it, man.
Was anyone around you when this was happening?
I forget. There was a couple of cast members that, somebody came up to me and I was like, how do you not get emotional being in here?
Yes, yeah.
And they were like, oh, we've seen a few people standing here like having this moment too.
Was it a weird dynamic because you hosted it and you're basically the same age as the cast members?
No, I felt like some of them were kind of on the come up too. So is that next group?
For sure, but you were like a bona fide star at that point. Like you were hosting the show.
Right. And also I'm a comedian, and if you know
you're a
anything
comedian,
about
exactly.
the politics of the show,
Exactly.
their sketch, their troupe, and so I'd heard that there was going to be like a little bit of a strange.
And was there?
No. Everybody made me feel like really welcome, and I felt like I was part of the gang when I was there.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, man.
So, speaking of gangs, Boston,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to transition.
Okay.
So you're one of the most iconic people from Boston.
Well, me and Olympia Dukakis.
Yes.
Let's just call it spade to spade.
I want to
Both
know.
Arlington High School graduates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I want to know, Dane Cook, which movie character has the worst Boston accent?
Oh, it's got to be somebody in The Departed. Somebody in The Departed.
That's your final. It's the whole cast. It's The Departed.
I think somebody in The Departed, like in The Departed.
How The Departed.
Fucking Departed.
How The
kid.
Departed.
Somebody in that cast, I think, went over the top with it, and it might have been the gentleman, West Wing, Charlie Sheen's father is
Martin Sheen?
Martin Sheen. I think Martin Sheen was trying to lay it on
Oh my God.
a little bit too Dorchester.
I went to Tufts for a year and a half.
Okay, yeah.
Transferred to
Yeah.
NYU, but I know that Somerville lifestyle.
Yeah, fucking Somerville.
Fucking Somerville.
It is fucking Somerville.
It's fucking Somerville.
Where you going? Fucking Somerville.
Gotta go to Davis Square. Fucking
Davis Square.
Fucking Somerville.
Oh my God. I did a lot of gigs back in the day in Davis Square.
Did you really?
Yeah, man, all over. Those early gigs. Me, Bill Burr, Patrice O'Neill, who else was in our squad? Young Gary Gulman. Like, we were all in there.
The sagacity, the temerity.
Just doing gigging anywhere and everywhere in Boston. Oh wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing to have guys like that you are starting out with.
Yeah, and they're all hungry, and they were all deserving
yeah.
of the success that they eventually found. Unfortunately,
was it competitive really or no?
Not really with us. I felt like our group was pretty good at looking out for each other. We were always kind of hitting each other up. Hey, I got a gig. You want to come over and do it? Or meet me at the Kowloon tonight? Or I felt like I didn't feel a direct competition with my graduating class, but I definitely felt it with like some of the comics, like the Mark Marons and the guys that were a little ahead that maybe weren't getting the traction.
I see.
They did not, you know, now it's kind of funny to look at, but they did not go easy on us at all.
What would they do?
It'd probably just make us feel scared to be there in the first place. I was so scared of Mark Maron. Mark Maron really scared me, man.
Really?
Yeah, I think I said
WTF.
I said on his podcast, I think I said, you really scared me. And he's like, I did. I said, remember the movie The Mummy? Remember that big face in the sand that would just scream through the desert? I was like, that's what you reminded me of. You were just like this. Those guys did not make you feel like, hey, welcome to the club. You know, we really had to stick together, my group.
Maybe that's why you're this nice, though. Like these weird interactions early on, they made you this person.
I think, I just don't like when people aren't, you know, listen, man, I like when people I like especially comics because we know the sacrifice and what it takes to make it in this business. And I like when we can be a little bit more forgiving with each other.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And supportive, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
We have 7 hours left.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, we're not
I think we need more cameras as well.
We need more cameras.
We need like one of those top cameras.
We really do. So, no, we talked about this earlier.
In closing.
No, we're not closing yet. No, but we talked about this early on, but the reason you have, one of the primary reasons you have sparked so much interest in me is because of the early social media use. So can you tell me if there are any differences between the early Dane Cook MySpace days versus the TikTok days? Like, how does MySpace compare to TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, Snapchat?
Yeah.
Are there any differences?
I think that, like, obviously I was fortunate to be like, I was also the shiny new unknown.
Yep.
And so the internet was, and I was. So talk about like just like the right team up of you know, up and coming and this tech that was, you know, permeating the masses. I think today for all of us, it still goes back to the most tried and true of anything creative, anything artistic.
Yeah.
If it's from the heart, if it's real, if it's not something that is just made for the clicks, but it's made really because it's like you're passionate about it, that stuff tends to not only find its way, but lead you along.
Yes.
You know, I think there's a lot of people that are good at posting something that'll get a few clicks, but I don't know if that's something that is going to inspire or sustain. Yeah. That's what we all want, man. So we're all trying to find those things. And when something finally catches, you could even watch some of your stuff and go, the reason this clip did so well and this one did okay is I'm really into it on this one.
Oh,
it's really beautiful. I'm finding it. So that's what we want. Find beautiful moments and share it.
Is there anything that you have not done yet that, like, you've climbed every mountain, you've hosted SNL, you're in movies, you've done arenas, you're Dane Cook. But is there anything that you look to career-wise or even in life and you're like, I want to do this?
Yeah, I think that I feel like I'm 52. I love acting. I could do stand-up any night and I will continue to do it for the rest of my life. But I've been fortunate to work with some great actors, William Hurt, William H. Macy, Kevin Costner, Demi Moore. I've got some great, moments where I've been, co-starring with these people. But I do feel like I have a role or a performance in me that is untapped.
Dramatic?
Dramatic. I mean, maybe there's some comedic elements. There's actors I love, the Josh Brolins of the world that I
Yeah.
look and go, this guy is so good at being intense but funny. He's so good at that.
Yes.
And when I watch him, he inspires me.
Yeah.
And I hope that I get a swing at the bat at something that's got the intensity, but maybe still has the charm and a little bit of the performance that we like to put into
And you'll be
something.
nominated for an Oscar, and I'll interview on a carpet, and
I
we'll
would
talk
love
about this
that.
interview.
I would love to do that. Yes, even
Yeah.
just be nominated is such an honor. So thank you.
Oh, is it really? Oh, you want to win, Dane. You want to win. New rule, right? If you're gonna, new rule. Let's stop saying that it's an honor to be nominated. No, it's not. You want to win.
Does he really not like when you do it?
You want to win, Dane. Okay.
Does he? Every
Right.
time I watch Bill when you do it, he
Oh.
looks like he wants to be more annoyed.
Oh, really? Honor to be nominated, right? Oh, shut up. No, it's not.
I'm gonna
But here's the
sweat.
thing:
Don't make me
if
sweat.
Willem Dafoe is winning these awards, I mean, come on! I think we could have a. I want to see Dane
fuck.
Cook hosting SNL again.
I would love to do that. I got to host twice. If I got to do it again, great. But just even those couple of times was like, man, what a cool moment.
Oh my
But
God!
I would like to do something in acting that
You're gonna do it.
I feel
I
like,
like to manifest these things and
man,
put it
I
out
like
there.
that. See, that's
You got to put that shit out there. You got to
do.
you got to do it.
But
know
you
what
got
I
to
mean?
be happy. You got to be healthy, and you have to be ready because
Yeah,
it is Lady
and not
Luck.
delusional, but you
Not
got to be
delusional.
focused, and then you do it. If you
Right.
put it out there, then if you don't put it out there, nothing's gonna happen.
That's right. But you got to put it out there, and you got to put it out there and be ready for what comes back when you put it out there.
Oh, for sure.
So I
the preparation.
I do the prep, and I'm ready for, I don't know, maybe I'll get that. I hope I get that opportunity. But I also know that on any given night, I'm blessed to be able to get up and do stand-up comedy.
yeah.
And if that's all I get to do, great. But if I get to do more, then I'm ready to go.
I hear you're getting ready to play Michael Richards in a biopic.
It's at the Laugh Factory.
Yeah.
We're filming it. We're going to film it in real time.
Yeah.
Can I run a scene with you here?
Yeah, the movie's called Exits and Entrances. Yeah, that's actually
Oh,
his new
okay.
book.
I like that title.
Thank you. Let's run the scene here. Okay. Think Django Unchained.
Oh,
Get into character and action.
cut. You've never heard cut right on action.
So, what?
You're a
So,
madman.
What would be? Oh, I'm a madman, barking like a seal, Dane Cook. No, what would be like the dream role for you?
Oh man, a dream role. I love Shining growing up,
Okay.
and when I watched Jack Nicholson in that,
I love a Dane Cook in the Shining version.
well, when I watched the behind the scenes and I watched Jack Nicholson and how
Yeah.
he prepped with Kubrick there,
Yeah.
I just know that I'm like, wow, with the right director,
Yeah.
I was like, I think somebody could fucking
Bring that out of
pull
you.
a performance in that genre.
Yeah.
Nothing is Nicholson. Nobody will be Nicholson. But in that genre, I go, I think I could do something real scary and real, intense. But, we'll see.
Oh my
see.
God. It needs to happen.
I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, would you ever do like a biopic? There's so many biopics now. Like you could play. Who could Dane Cook play in a biopic?
Play.
You could play.
Look like? You got to kind of look like the person.
who could
That's
you
not a
play?
good question to ask.
I don't know. No. You could do like I don't know, maybe some. There's got to be something.
somebody's
some
doing a biopic.
politician or someone.
Isn't Jonah Hill's doing the
yeah, he's doing
Grateful
Jerry
Dead,
Garcia, right?
which is so great.
Yeah.
You look, you go, yes.
I'm playing Johnny Carson in a biopic.
Is that true?
No, it is not.
Well,
yeah.
I wish that.
I just put that out there. It's just boom blah.
put it out there.
Okay.
Get out there, Kreskin.
Okay, very good. You know who's playing Ed? Dane Cook.
Maybe that's it right
We gotta have a Carson Ed thing going.
You are correct, sir.
I love the Phil Hart. This is what goes really viral on TikTok. Jerry Lewis and you are correct, sir. That's what kids love, Dane.
We're really zeitgeisting.
Oh,
with the,
we are, yeah. I love like that era. I would have killed to have just be a small part of.
I want to see the Saturday Night Live movie because I think who's the actor from Whiplash? The guy's playing
J.K. Simmons?
yeah,
Is he in it?
yeah, he's in it. I think he's playing.
Yeah, they do a scene where
Yeah, he's a
where
famous
Dane
comedian.
Cook is doing stand up and he goes, "Not my tempo,
What?
not my tempo."
No, my dad.
Yeah.
Who is he playing?
I don't
I
know
wanna
who
look
he
it up.
would play.
But he looks like he's playing a real comedian, from that era.
J.K. Simmons is.
Yes.
The Carlin monologue.
The whole movie looks amazing, but then I was like, ooh, he looks like he's playing like an
I sent in a
interesting-
tape for that movie, actually.
Did you really?
I think I did like a Lorne, and I think that was the one yeah. I'm Lorne Michaels, Saturday night. Yeah, I don't know.
That's a little bit.
I did not get cast.
Okay.
On the real show either.
I'm sorry to hear that.
But here we are. I'm here with Dane Cook on my show, Friend in High Places.
It's very cool to be here.
It's weird too, no, because with that show and other that show in particular, just like the world has evolved so much. Where like now I can be talking to Dane Cook, and you can kind of create your own platform behind you instead of like waiting for an opportunity like that to happen.
Oh yeah. There's no reason anymore to kind of languish behind the scenes. You can create something. If you have an idea in you, there is absolutely an outlet for somebody to create. So
you're like a comedic Tony Robbins.
Me?
A little bit. I am so inspired right now. God. Seriously, I would sit through 9.5 hours of you at the Laugh Factory.
We just do breathing exercises for like 45 minutes straight.
You're like a white Oprah. But anyway, Dane, I got it. I didn't really do any voices during this podcast, but I will tell you that Dane Cook is one of the great comedians of the world. We love him a lot. He's tough as hell. He's smart as hell, and he's got great taste. He really. I know I just did that.
That was so good, man.
I shouldn't have.
Every time he pops into it, I don't know. I forget that I'm on a show. That's a compliment. Because usually when you're on a show, you stay in the pocket. And instead, I'm just sitting here like a fan watching, being like,
"That's great."
And he's nailing these.
Yeah, I'm
voices.
not setting up the guests that took the time out of their day to come. I'm just talking like a monkey.
I just like when it's more of a hang than even like whatever.
That's what kind of it is, right?
You know, that's the best thing that can happen.
Yeah, when are we getting drinks? Let's go. Well, not drinks, but Gatorades.
No,
Shirley Temples.
That's not good.
Gatorade's not good?
You'd cut it anyway, but I'm not going to get into it.
Oh, no. Oh, wait, what I just said?
No, Gatorade.
Oh, I thought you meant like to not talk about this.
No. I was saying like if we ended up talking about Gatorade, we'd cut it anyway.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, are they a sponsor of the show?
No, they're not.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, what's happening with?
I'll tell you. We'll talk off.
Okay, good.
It's off the record with Dane Cook, my podcast, which is launching right now.
We'll get into that later. Well, no, Dane. Yeah, I wanted to ask you where can people find you? What do you have coming up? You have a podcast. You have shows. Tell everything.
This is 34 years doing stand-up this month, and I'm launching another tour. This will be like my 39th official tour across the United States, called the Fresh New Flavor Tour.
Congratulations.
We start at the Beacon Theater, which is one of the top 3 theaters I've ever played in my life.
Seinfeld loves it.
Love it. That's New York City. And then
I'm opening for you. We're announcing
you
that
should,
today.
if you'd like to come Saturday.
I'll be there.
You should come there. If you're free. And then we're going to hit, I think, 30 to 36 markets after that.
Amazing.
And then film a special at the end of the year. And then in 2025, a documentary that I'm releasing. So we got some irons in the fire, man. Always putting irons in the fire.
Jeremy Irons in the fire.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dane, it was a thrill to talk to you. Seriously, thank you so much for taking the time. And an honor, honestly. You're so inspiring, so nice off camera as well. And thank you, and best of luck with everything coming up.
Thank you for having me on your show, man, and I wish you nothing but continued breaking of legs and a lot of success. You earned it, you kick butt, and I look forward to seeing your star ascend.
Thank you. Follow him on MySpace, everybody. Good night.
Am I still on there?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dane.
Thanks, Matt.